Hi guys, Kornel Flint here, and today I will talk to you about what is the best SD card you could get both for photography and for video. Let's go! Whilst doing my research to find out which cards would suit my needs the best, I have found quite a lot of misinformation both from the manufacturers themselves and also the people in the industry. So in this video, I will try to narrow all of that information down to the most important things that you should be on the lookout for to make the right choice for your needs and also provide my recommendations. Over the past 10 years, working both as a freelancer and for production companies, I have had experience with pretty much all of the key manufacturers of the memory cards. Sandisk, Samsung, Lexar, Kingston, Transcend, Computer Bay, Sony, you name it, I tried it. And pretty much out of all of those cards, the only brand that never caused any problems was Sandisk. Thankfully, knock on wood, I didn't have any problems myself. However, I have seen how difficult and how expensive it is to recover data from some of the lesser brands, so I would definitely highly recommend to avoid any of the unknown brands and stick with my recommendation, which is Sandisk. So let's talk about the speed of the cards that you need. Unfortunately, most of the manufacturers print out the transfer speed of the SD cards on the packaging or the cards itself, which is actually the read speed, which is the lesser important speed. The actual speed that we are interested in is the write speed, which very rarely is stated on the packaging. For video, the requirements and recommendations are fairly simple. Anything in Full HD 1080p, you'll be perfectly fine with around 45-50 megabytes per second, so in this case the regular Sandisk Extreme cards. If you're however filming 4K or slow motion 1080p, I would recommend something much faster than that, which would be around the 80-95 megabytes per second bracket. So in this case, the Sandisk Extreme Pro cards. For 4K 50p and up, you're gonna have to reach for the fastest available cards, which are the Sandisk Extreme Pro UHS 2. However, there is no benefit for video to buy faster cards than you need, so you should stay in a bracket that suits your needs. For photo, the story is a little bit different. The faster the card, the longer you can shoot in a burst mode, but also the quicker the camera will save the images from the internal buffer to the card. Why is that important? In the cases of most cameras, you won't be able to access any menus or change any settings whilst the camera is saving. So the quicker the card, the quicker it saves the images from the buffer to the card, and the quicker you can get back to shooting. As you can see in this example, not only did it take longer to hit the buffer limit of the camera with the faster cards, but there's a big difference in how long it takes to save the files and how long it takes until the camera can be used again. So in my opinion, the only reason to go for the 5 times more expensive UHS 2 cards is when you're shooting a lot of sports and you're constantly shooting massive bursts of images and you really need that quick response and quick save time. Other than that, just stick to the regular Extreme Pro UHS 1 cards. Another thing worth remembering as well is that with most 2-slot cards cameras, there are not 2 UHS 2 card slots as well. So if you want to shoot in redundant mode, which is how I shoot personally, I would highly recommend you shoot to 2 cards at the same time as well. You are limited to the speed of the slower card anyway, so there's absolutely no point in getting one fast, one slow card, because you're not going to get the benefit of the fast cards because of the slow card in the camera. As far as the size of the cards, the max capacity I would recommend to go for is 64GB, which is also the price to capacity sweet spot at the moment. 64GB is enough for about 2,500 raw images on my Sony a7 III, which is 22 megapixels, and about 3 hours of HD or 1.5 hour of 4K footage. It is much better to go for multiple 64GB cards and switch throughout the day as you need them, than having one big card and having all eggs in one basket. So if you have a failure, knock on wood, you at least have a couple different parts and you're not losing everything at the one time. The only time I would consider going for cards bigger than 64 is when you shoot a lot of 4K footage, because 1.5 hours might not be enough. However, I personally, even though I shoot a lot of video as well, have very rare situations that I shoot for something in 4K longer than for an hour and a half and don't have the time to take 20 seconds to switch the cards. So I, even though also shoot a lot of 4K, don't personally feel the need to go as high to 128 gig cards and risk having so much in one place. One thing to remember while selecting the right card size for you is that some older devices and some, for example, Zoom audio recorders don't take the newer SDXC cards. They only take the slightly older SDHC cards, which are limited to 32 gigabytes, and you won't be able to use the newer SDXC cards in the Zoom recorders because they still use the old FAT32 file format instead of the new exFAT file format, which means that they can take files bigger than 4 gigabytes. It's always worth having a few smaller cards as well, so you can use them with older devices or, for example, devices that don't need much capacity, like for example my small HD monitor. So how many cards do you need? I would highly recommend to have enough cards to get you through a whole shoot without having to format any of the cards. So for example, in my case, the most I would shoot in a row away is, for example, some corporate jobs, which are like 3 days. The most I would shoot during those days are 4 cards. So 3 days, 4 cards, that is 12 cards. And I will never ever format those cards whilst out there. Even though I'm backing up every day to 2 separate hard drives, I will not format those cards until I get back to the office. And I would strongly recommend for you to do that as well. Have always a backup and never format the master cards until you're back in the office and you have started working on a project and you see that nothing is missing, because whilst you back up on location, you usually have been working for a long period of time, or you're on a holiday and your head is somewhere else, and this is where mistakes are made, and sometimes those mistakes may be costly and you can lose some data. Another thing as well is I always shoot 2 cards, so I use the second set of cards every day. Once I have offloaded all of the media after the daily shoot, then I can check if everything is copied correctly and I format my backup cards. Only the backup cards. Master cards stay untouched until back in the office and everything is transferred to the main vault. One final thing I would recommend is to get yourself a SD card pouch. I use the Think Tank SD Pixel Pocket Rocket. I have quite a few of them, and I really like the fact that they're bright orange. There's a space for your business cards in there, even though you can easily find them because they're bright orange. I always have them sitting in my pocket and attached to the belt, so there's no chance of me losing them. Never keep the cards in your camera bag, because if, knock on wood, your camera bag gets stolen, you're going to lose all of your data, and this way at least you have everything with you and everything is safe. Usually the best time to stock up on cards is around Black Friday, because during that time they have really good deals and you can pick up quite a lot of them and stock up on your inventory and have them for the future to come. Thank you very much for watching. All of the links to the products mentioned in the video are in the description below. If you liked the video, make sure to smash the thumbs up button and consider subscribing. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.